Great morning. Great morning. This is your boy, Pastor P. I am excited, y'all, to be back with you on this morning. I want to welcome everybody in, lottie-dottie, and everybody. Come on in, y'all. Let's get into the Word of God today as we continue to share in the Word of God as to how to think before we think and how we react to our thought processes. And I pray that all is well with your soul on this morning. Pray you've gotten off to a great start. Pray that your morning is going well with an amazing flow. And if you've had some hiccups along the way, man, that's okay. Don't trip about it. Don't spaz out. Understand this, that the challenges always come to the champions. Whenever you have a challenge, it's confirmation that you're a champion. And I know you're going to overcome it and you're going to win at the end of the day, because greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. Well, listen, your first time tuning in, welcome to Morning Vibe Podcast. I'm your boy, Pastor Vance Price. I'm excited and filled with great exuberation to be pastor of the Community Family of Faith Church right here in Monroe, Louisiana. And even more so, I'm excited about also being your YouTube pastor, Facebook pastor, TikTok pastor, your online pastor. Thank God for all of our community global. We praise God for all of you that have connected with our church from across the country, wherever you are operating in. We thank God for you. And just by chance, you'll watch for the very first time. If you don't mind, don't feel embarrassed or feel inconvenience. Just share with us where you're watching from, what city, state, or what country you're watching from. We know we have those that watch across the globe that tune in and tap in, and we just love you and we thank God for your very life, and we don't take your presence for granted on today. Well, y'all, listen, we began sharing on the word yesterday, and we talked about, and what's up, blessings. We talked about Houston, blessings. Thank God for you on the day. We're grateful to God for you as well. Listen, I want to share a word we began sharing on yesterday. It says, let's think through what we're thinking about. Let's think through what we're thinking about. And I think it's imperative we do that, mainly because we're in a world right now where people perceive things a certain way, and they have a tendency and proclivity to take that and run with it without ever giving consideration as to what it might be outside the scope and the realm of what they anticipate or what they perceive it to be. So our endeavor in yesterday and today is to redirect our thought processes on how to get consideration before we jump off the bandwagon or dive into the ocean on a particular thought or tangent without giving consideration as to what else it might be. Now, I want to pick where we left off on yesterday without going all the way back to where we stopped at. And I want to just continue that teaching on today. And I want to raise this thought today and perhaps be a blessing to your very life. I want to go back to the word we were speaking of in Psalms number 4. And I want to read verse number 4 rather. Psalms number 4 and verse number 4. Psalms number 4 and verse number 4 will be our focus for the teaching for the day. Psalms number 4 and verse number 4. And Ms. Coco, this is how it reads. It says, don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. Now he says, don't sin by letting anger control you. If it's okay to be angry, but the Bible says be angry, but don't sin. It's the thing called righteous anger. Jesus had righteous anger when he went into the temple and he saw how they were manipulating the people, because the money changers and the priests in the temple had this racket going on. So when somebody brought their sacrifice to the temple, that the priest would reject the sacrifice, which would cause the people to have to go out into the market courtyard and have to buy the sacrifices of doves and everything out there to bring back to the priests. And what they did was they raised the price up 4 times than market value, and the priest was getting a cut from the money that the money changers were making. And Jesus says, my Father's house is a house of prayer, but y'all turned it to a den of thieves. In other words, y'all ain't robbing my Father, y'all robbing these people. And Jesus got righteous indignation. He had righteous anger and turned the money tables over and flipped everything and whipped them out that temple by a strap, because he was angry because of how they were behaving. You ought to be angry when you see how people can have the audacity and the nerve to hate somebody because of the color of their skin or their ethnicity or their sexual orientation, whether they trans or whether they are bisexual or homosexual, or whether they are single parent or whether they have multiple children, whether they have a prison record, whether they have made some mistakes in life, whether they've had an abortion or not, whether they have been divorced, or whether they have been an alcoholic or been addicted to some type of substance, whether they have a prison record or felony on their record. It's a shame. We ought to be angry that people have the audacity and the nerve to hate people because they come from another country or they have another ethnicity. They ought to make us angry. You ought to be angry because folks have the nerve not to even vote in elections, that people making decisions that's affecting the whole world. You ought to be angry about that. That people have the audacity to have the nerve to take children out of the care of their parents and sex traffic them across the country and across the globe. We ought to be angry about those kind of things. That women can be mistreated and be treated as second-class citizens. Work the same job a man works, but they have to be paid a lower than a price than a man is getting paid. You ought to be angry about that. That our senior saints that retire have to turn around and get another part-time job, just make ends meet. They got to fight in their own self. Do I pay for my medicine or do I pay my bills? You ought to be angry about that. You ought to be angry that we have young people that join the military forces to serve their country and also to create a better quality of life for themselves and for their family and to see the world and to serve and to get college paid for. And now they're on the verge of being deployed into different parts of the world and fighting a war, while some people sitting around having tea parties and playing golf and hanging out and throwing parties and just having a good time while lives are being lost on battlefields or foreign places. Well, be angry about that. That ought to frustrate us. That ought to give us some righteous indignation. Now, young people are afraid and in a panic and anxiety because they're afraid they will get a call. They have to get up where they are and meet their platoon preparing for deployment. That ought to anger us. The wars are being fought because people got egos. And they're having a pissing contest on who got the biggest military, who's stronger, who got more power. We'll be angry about those things. It's okay to have righteous anger. Just because we're angry, we don't have to sin. We don't have to be volatile. We don't have to be dismissed. We don't have to attack one another. We have to beat each other in the streets. We got to shoot each other down in the streets. We'll be angry. There's people are being shot in the streets and people being pulled out of their homes. Because somebody called and said, I think they're an illegal citizen. We'll be angry about those things. We'll be angry about those things. We'll be angry about those things. We'll be angry about those things that we need law enforcement. Some are quitting the law enforcement because they're overworked, underpaid, and it's fewer and fewer every day. We'll be angry because you got healthcare professionals that have to turn down patients because the insurance companies are dictators. And without regulation, and dictating the doctors how to get care to their patients. We'll be angry about that. That nurses have to go into work and work double shifts because they're overworked and underpaid. We'll be angry about those things. I'll be angry about those things. That you get more time for being a drug than you do for killing somebody in the street. We'll be angry about that. That judges let these people go back out into the street after they have taken innocent lives. But they want political power and be put on pedestals. They let people out in the street that go back and commit a crime again. I'm angry about those things. Please understand, it's okay to be angry, but don't let the anger get so caught up in you that you end up sinning against God's will and God's way. The power, get this right here, to regulate our emotions is to take an introspective look at ourselves. Here it is. And how we were feeling about something that may have been provoked by us. Hear me right here. Sometimes, y'all, watch this, Michelle. We are angry about things. We're angry about things. Here it is. And we are offended. But guess what? Sometimes we may have provoked it. There are sometimes people act a certain way towards us. We got to sometimes step back and think about it. Lord, what role have I played in this? Some people are angry with us, not because out of what they've done to us, but sometimes we have mishandled people, or maybe talked somebody a different way, or talked somebody kind of rough, or maybe been disrespectful to somebody. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not. Sometimes people act toward us like they do because of some of the actions that we have portrayed in front of them. T. Slay, great morning, love you. We got to sometimes take a step back Because sometimes the way our children are rebelling, it ain't just because they're rebelling, but sometimes we as parents have handled them the wrong way and not taking into consideration. We said things out of haste. We said things out of our own frustration. We said things out of our own stress. And sometimes you can be stressed out and just respond to somebody in a way that's offensive, but you weren't trying to offend. And we're in a very tone-sensitive society. People are very tone-sensitive. How you said it to me, I don't like how they said it to me. I don't like how they looked at me when they said it. I don't like how their body language was when they said it to me. We are very in a sensitive society. And people can be offended by some of the smallest things you ever could do. Look that way. You look at somebody else, they were in that direction, but you didn't see them. You saw somebody else and they waved, but you didn't see them and you didn't wave back. Now they're mad. They're telling everybody, I waved and they ain't waved back, they got attitude. But you just didn't see them. But they didn't give you consideration and come to you and say, hey, look, I was waving at you. Did you see me? I missed you. And have a conversation there and then restore relationship. But we'll sometimes just fly off the handle and assume that somebody was purposely trying to offend. Get this right here. Sometimes the reason people are acting the way they're acting is because of how we've acted towards them. Teacher Kelly, watch this. As a pastor, I've had to learn to stop and pause before I check or correct someone for doing something that was really done out of a good intentions and not ill will. And some pastors will admit that, some pastors will not. But Jacqueline, I love you. There are times that as a pastor, I've had to pull up and say, wait a minute, hold on, let me have a conversation with this person. And then talk to them about what I perceived it to be in comparison as what they intended it to be. And sometimes, y'all, we can just perceive things wrong. That's right, Miss Lady. Just take a pause. Before you snap and go off, take a pause, take a deep breath, count to 10, and then go and talk to that person and make sure y'all on the same page. As a pastor, I've had sometimes perceive what somebody did as an attack, whether it was me or the ministry, or going out of line, or trying to just usurp some authority they didn't really have, and get offended by it, and like, hold on, you trying to take over. Instead of just taking a pause, and wait a minute, first of all, let's look at this person's character. That's not the kind of person they are. They don't have that kind of character. And maybe they had good intentions, it was just taken the wrong way. All of us have been there. All of us at some point have had good intentions, but how we did it and how people perceived it wasn't always on the same page. We meant well, but people took it the wrong way. I may not have said it the accurate way. I didn't articulate my words properly. I did not take the right angle. I may have had bad timing. I should have waited until later to say it instead of saying it now. But my intentions were good. And we got to learn how to take a pause and to wait a minute when we snap on people and feel like they're trying to offend us or attack us. I want y'all to write this down. Get this right here. How we manage our internal self helps us to respond righteously and avoid displeasing God or hurting people. How we manage our internal self helps us to respond righteously and avoid displeasing God and hurting people. I'm going to say it again. How we manage our internal self helps us to respond righteously and avoid displeasing God or hurting people. Hear me right here, Miss Renee. If I manage my internal self, if I manage my inner emotion, my inner self, that helps me to respond righteously and avoid displeasing God or hurting people. Sometimes because I didn't manage me right. I didn't manage my emotions right. I didn't manage my attitude. I didn't manage my tone of voice. I didn't manage my facial expression. I didn't manage my thoughts. I didn't manage my emotions. I didn't manage my anger. I didn't manage my discontent. I didn't manage my reaction. I made a bad choice and ultimately hurt somebody that was innocent, or I displeased God. Now here it is right here. I want y'all to get this right here. Sin is to displease God and to hurt innocent people. Yes, that's sin. That's why it says be angry but don't sin. If I'm displeasing God, that's a sin. If I'm hurting innocent people, that's a sin. So when I do either, I'm operating in sin. Chris, bless you, bro. Give sis my love. So excited about her recovery. Watch the Bible. Ephesians chapter 4. I got Bible. Ephesians chapter 4. I want to read verse 26 and verse 27. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, verse 27. Watch this, Miss Rosemary. And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry. For anger gives a foothold to the devil. It says, don't let anger control you. And don't let the sun go down while you're still angry. Here's why. For anger gives a foothold to the devil. So when I operate in anger and I let my anger control me, the enemy comes in and uses my anger to lash out at people that really hadn't done anything to me. You ever see somebody go off? They go off on everybody. If you ever played athletics, played any kind of sport and had a coach or an instructor, if you're in a team environment, one person can make a mistake and the whole team got to pay for it. That's what it's really saying. If I let my anger the best of me, I'm not going to just correct the one that made the mistake. I'm going to take my anger out on everybody come my way. So therefore, when I got up this morning and I got up and stomped my toe, so now everybody come my pathway, I'm snapping. I woke up a little bit later. I stomped my toe. The outfit I was going to put on, I got to adjust because the zipper broke. The button fell off the shirt, fell off the sleeve. The stockings got a ruin in them. The sock got a hole in it. The pants I was going to put on, the zipper just broke. Or the hem came out. The dress you was going to wear, the zipper broke. There's a tear in it. There's a stain on it you didn't know was there. Kids late for school. They spilled milk on the homework. On the way to school, they forgot their lunch. Got to go back. My date. My tire low. Now I got to find, when I found a machine to put tire in it, the machine is out of order. I got the machine that was in order. Now I realize I don't have the correct change. The card machine ain't working. I'm running late. Get to work. Now, when we don't learn how to reel it in, and sometimes take a breath, I can ultimately frustrate myself to where I'm taking out on people that have nothing to do with my frustration. Now, I want to address this whole thing about don't let something go down your wrath. Understand this. There are times, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. When you're in a relationship, you're married, you are dating, committed relationship, and y'all are at odds. Listen, there will be some times you got to go to bed angry. Because I may not have calmed down enough to where I'm ready to have a conversation, Miss Petty London. I hadn't calmed down enough to where I can talk to you calmly and rationally. So since I'm not there yet, we gotta go to bed at odds tonight. Have a good night. Love you. Talk to you in the morning. We good? Because right now, trying to force myself to talk to you about it is going to even heighten my anger, or maybe even cause it to become even more volatile and hostile. So he said, don't go down, the wrath go down on your anger, some go down on your wrath. He's really saying is, don't die with this stuff in your heart. I may have to do it tonight. I can't talk tonight, but I don't want to die and leave this world but haven't resolved the issue. That's what he's talking about. He said, don't let the sun go down while you're still angry. Don't be angry with somebody so long till they die and you hadn't resolved the issue. There will be some times in life which y'all married, happy to be together selves, that you love each other all the time, don't like each other all the time, that you may have to go to bed with an unresolved issue. And get this right here. We have to be responsible for our actions and behavior even when our anger is justified. Now I'm going to lose some of y'all right through up in here. Mr. Chandra, here it is right here. We have to be responsible for our actions and our behavior even when our anger is justifiable. Watch this right here. There are times that I'm angry and I have a right to be angry. But even though I have a right to be angry, watch this, Miss Coco, I'm still responsible for my actions and my behavior. Because some people want to put off on the fact they're angry, that's why they went off like they did. No, you may feel justified in it. You may be, your anger is justified. They did offend you. They did disrespect you. They did mishandle you. They did profile you. They did disrespect you. They did try to steal from you. They did lie to you. They did try to manipulate you. They did try to gaslight you and all of the above. But here it is right here. I'm still held responsible, held to see, good to see you, for how I react to it and my behavior. I'm responsible. I just can't go off because I want to. And some try to use that as an excuse. Well, why did you talk like that? They made me mad. They did this to me. They did that to me. It doesn't matter. I'm still responsible and accountable for my actions and my behavior. I don't get a pass because somebody lied on me. There's no pass that God gives us that he can be offended by what somebody says. Can't do it. Cannot do it. I can't just be disrespectful because I choose to be. I can't be disrespectful because I choose to be. I can't be offensive because I choose to be. I can't do it. I can't do it. That's a very valid question that someone asked, was I married? I'm not yet, but being married does not negate what the Bible says. And that's a valid question. I'll honor that question. I want to respond to that and probably that make it clear. I got to be held accountable for my responsibility of my behavior and my actions. I cannot behave any kind of way because I feel justified. Here it is right here. You have the right to be angry, but don't allow your anger to control you. Let's go Bible. Ephesians chapter 4. Look at Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 31 and verse 32. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31 and 32. This is what it says. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. So he says, even though I've been offended by somebody, here's reality. I got to get rid of all that bitterness, because some of us have been hurt by people and we use that as a license or authorization to be bitter towards people. And no matter what you've done to me, I can't walk around here being bitter towards you. No. I can't be like that. I can't be bitter towards you. I can't do that. Can't be bitter towards you. I have to operate in a way that glorifies God and edifies my fellow man. It can't be about rage or anger or harsh words or about slander. I got to get rid of all of that negativity. And I got to operate in a way that glorifies God. And what does he say? Instead of being bitter, in a rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, and got all this bad, evil behavior in you, won't you just consider being kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. So let me put myself in somebody else's shoes. Before I start condemning and condoning, let me confront. Let me confront me. Yeah. Let me confront me. Let me confront me where I am. Let me confront me in the space where I'm in. Let me confront my own self. Because people have an easy time condemning people that they don't know, but condoning what people do that they do know and love. But nobody confronts. God never told us to condemn or condone. He told us to confront. If a brother had ought against your brother, go to him in spirit of meekness. Consider yourself that you also be tempted. So whatever happened to them, guess what could have happened? It could have been you as well. It could have been you. Just because it wasn't, you don't mean it couldn't have been. It's just you did not fall into the same circumstance as they fell into. Get this right here. Very real simple, people of God. Here it is. Even though we're angry, God holds us accountable to choose a response that doesn't cause us to dishonor God or hurt other people out of rage. I'm going to say it again. Even though we're angry, God holds us accountable to choose a response that doesn't cause us to dishonor God or hurt other people out of rage. I'm going to say it again. Even though we're angry, God holds us accountable to choose a response that doesn't cause us to dishonor him or hurt others out of our rage. God says, choose your response. Yes, choose your response. Please understand, y'all, I'm angry. But God says, even though you're mad and you got a right to be angry how they treated you, you still have to choose the response that does not dishonor God and it doesn't hurt other people. Yeah. Just because I'm angry, I don't have a right to hurt you or dishonor God. And what's sad about our society is that we use our anger as a badge to go on social media and just snap on people. We use our anger to go on social media and slander people. We use our anger as motivation to be disrespectful or to damage people or to try to run them down or try to tear down their character or assassinate their good name or to cause them to lose their jobs or to cause problems in their relationships or marriages. We got to stop using our anger because we learned that and we were in school. When we had our report card, what report cards say? Does not or does play well with others. Conflict resolution. And it's bad that we have children that don't know how to resolve conflict because the parents don't know how to resolve conflict. There's just a disagreement in your relationship. It ain't got to be a fallout, cuss out, brawling situation. If you look now, you look on social media, there's somebody recording the fight. Nobody's trying to break it up, but everybody's recording it. Everybody wants to get some likes, wants to get views. We record it, but nobody's trying to stop it. Nobody's trying to bring resolve. Nobody's trying to be a mediator. Everybody's recording, but nobody's trying to resolve. And we got to be careful that we don't allow our anger to make us choose the wrong response to what's happened. I know you're angry, but sometimes once you calm down, then go back and have a conversation. Because I want to say this, I'm moving on. We got to be very careful, y'all, that we don't stop valuing healthy relationships. You're right, Miss Michelle, you're right. Make fun of people that are disabled. That's heartbreaking. I hate that. We got to be very mindful. And even though I'm angry, I don't want to lose this relationship. It's too valuable. I see people fall out over elections. I have people that I used to consider friends, and I still consider me a friend to them. They might be a friend to me. Over elections. Who ran for what office? And we start talking to each other. We got people that fall out over who voted for who. And we gotta learn that relationships are the currency that makes the world go round. God did not want man to be by himself. He wanted man to have relationship and partnership, friendships, interaction with one another.